Greetings guys, I'm Rob Chapman and I do lots of different things, and for a change I'm going to do them all on YouTube rather than my previous way of working, which was just to put them all into DVDs and downloadable tuition and books and cassettes and all sorts of things that people would buy. I made the decision today actually that what I would do instead is put it all on YouTube for everyone just to use for free and have lots of fun, and I'm going to give you a mental download. So this is everything that I know about the guitar, about shooting YouTube videos, about working in this industry as a guitarist that does what I do. And I think I'm fairly unique in my position in this industry because I have a foot, I have several feet, in lots of different parts of it. So let me give you a real brief introduction to who I am in case you've got no idea about who I am at all, which is completely cool. So I'm Rob Chapman, or Chappers as my friends and followers call me, and I'm in a band called Dorje, which is a progressive rock metal band where I sing. I'm the front man, I sing and I play guitar. So I have a band and we tour and we do that kind of thing, which is great fun. I own a guitar company called Chapman Guitars. This is a Chapman guitar, and we're a full-on proper guitar company. We manufacture in a factory in Korea and we sell them worldwide, and we've sold thousands of guitars. And the difference is that they're all collaboratively designed, so people online on YouTube and on Facebook and my forum, robchapman.tv, help to vote collaboratively, democratically on the spec, and we come up with great guitars at a really affordable price because we don't use distributors. I've been a guitar teacher since I was 16, I'm now 38. I played sessions for most of the major labels and for a bunch of pretty cool artists, or people I think are pretty cool anyway, including Ingve Malmsteen, and I have released my own music under the name Rob Chapman, released an album, toured with many bands. I've done pretty much everything you could think of to do in the industry, or the modern day music industry, and I suppose the last thing is that I started a YouTube channel and now I've got 160,000 subscribers, and I kind of base myself digitally here because I can reach the most people via this platform. So I've got 160,000 subs now. I wonder how many subs I'll have by the time you finish watching all of these videos. So yeah, I do a lot of different things, but they're all about just being me and doing the things that I really enjoy. Here's my first rule of thumb for anybody who wants to be a professional artist, and this doesn't mean guitar player or bass player, it just means anything that's creative and artistic. If you want to be successful, do the things that you enjoy doing and don't do the things that you don't enjoy doing. Now that's a generalization. What I mean is, if you really love playing rock guitar, play rock guitar, because you'll find that you spend more time, more effort, more energy willingly in that particular art form, and you're more likely to be successful at it, and this is from my experience personally. So where do we start? Start at the beginning. I'm going to assume that you know nothing at all, although the majority of you will know something. So this is a guitar. Now guitars are all very different, as you can see to the side here. I've got a bunch of different guitars and they come in different shapes and sizes, numbers of strings, kinds of pickups, which are the kind of microphones here that take the sound from the instrument. And let me tell you about how to sit with one, how to play with one, and how to select one for you. So how to buy a guitar, that's the first place, isn't it really? You need to pick the guitar that matches your budget, primarily, and the one that gets you the most excited about playing guitar. I don't care what brand it is. I own a guitar company, but I don't care. It doesn't matter. That's not what's important. What's important is that you look at that guitar and you go, damn, I want to play that guitar all day. Because if that's how you feel about the guitar, you're more likely to play it, pick it up and improve and improve and improve and get better and better. So it's the guitar that makes you the most excited and the one you can afford. Other than that, if you're a complete beginner, don't worry about much else. I mean, if you want to bring a friend that can play to sort of test it out or whatever, you're going to be fine. Nowadays, very affordable guitars are made to a really great standard. Companies have a reputation to uphold. They don't want to produce something that's bad and then make you not buy a higher end model from the range. Back in my day, because I'm 38, when I started playing when I was 16, which is also when I started teaching, beginners guitars were shit and you really got what you paid for. Things have changed now. production has improved dramatically. So yeah, you're going to be safe as long as you can set it up, or you can get someone to set it up for you. So setup is the next thing to discuss once you've bought a guitar. And by the way, brands I would recommend, irrespective of the fact that they're all great, I would recommend PRS, ESP, Fender, Yamaha, Chapman. I would recommend Schecter, some of the Gibson things when you get a bit more money. So that's my recommendations for buying a guitar. Anyway, moving on. And there are many others. I've probably forgotten some other brilliant brands, probably some of which I own. But yeah, anyway, moving on. So when you've bought yourself a guitar, you've got to set it up. There are things to learn about setting up a guitar. And that is, no one knows how to set up your guitar. It has to feel right to you, and everybody's different. So when you get someone saying, oh man, your guitar's set up really badly, it's bullshit, don't listen to them. You've got to learn how to do it yourself. It's really important because it feels completely different the way you set it up. There are a bunch of things to consider. The action is how high the string is over the fret wire. Frets are these strips of metal going across the fretboard. So here's a string, here's a fret wire, and let me activate B-cam so that you can take a closer look. That's a clap to sync the two cameras. I'm looking at the audio on both of these cameras and matching the spike right now and synchronizing the audio. So here's B-cam, and you can see these fret wires across the fretboard here, and if I touch a string to a fret wire, I make that. If I touch a string to a fret wire, then you get a sound. So if I don't touch a string to a fret wire, I get an open string. So the string resonates from the nut right down here to the bridge down here. If I touch it to a fret, I get a notage. So the distance between the string and the fret is what we call the action. Now, it's deceptive because some people will tell you that you require a really low action to get a great feel or a great sound, and that's just not true. Deactivate B-cam. The height of action affects the sound greatly because when you strike a string, this is a string, here's my plectrum, if you strike it, that string doesn't just go up and down. It goes in a circle, like this, if you look at it lengthways. And the string needs to be able to do that freely to emit the tone and to operate upon the laws of physics in this universe correctly and give off, most importantly, the bass end of the tone. So if your action is very low, the string is impeded by the fret beneath it, and also it tends to get closer to the magnets of the pickups and they pull on the string. I personally prefer what I would call a medium action, and just glancing at my guitar, that's roughly 1.5, maybe 2 mil above the fret wire. But you need to set it up and see what feels nice to you. And to begin with, you won't have a clue because you're not playing if you're a complete beginner. So you want to just play some open chords, learn some real simple rudiments, and see how it feels, and just get used to every day adjusting it. I mean, every day. It's important that you do that. So action is one thing. If your action is too low, you'll get what they call fret buzz. If it's too high, your fingers will hurt. But there are other factors that come into play here. And that is the neck and the way the neck is shaped. There are lots of different terms for this, but basically there's a rod of metal that runs down the length of an electric guitar neck called a truss rod, and this rod holds the neck under tension to keep it into a kind of an angle. So you can have an angle like this, or an angle like that, or a really straight neck. Now if the neck was really straight, some people like that feel. If the neck is really curved, if you imagine the string being attached here and here, you're going to get like a dip where the strings are really high off the fretboard, makes it a bit harder to play. And if the neck is bent back, then the strings are touching the fretboard. So it's important to learn how to adjust your truss rod, and this is a really simple thing that anybody can do with the correct Allen key. Normally you find a hole at the top of the neck where you can put the Allen key in, it's a bit fiddly, move the strings around, and you can give it a whole turn or half a turn. Sometimes it's a bit stiff and it creaks, but just go at it nice and steady, adjust it, tune the strings, and then see how it feels, and more importantly, see how it looks. 2 ways of doing that. Here's the first way. Take a finger and a thumb. Left hand, index finger, press down any string. I'm going to press down the G string, which is the 4th string down looking at the guitar. Take my right hand thumb and press down the same string, the highest fret, and take this first finger and dab over the 12th fret. Now there should be a bit of give before it touches the fret wire. Now for me, I've got 0.5 millimeter to 1 millimeter. That's healthy. If that was like 4 mil, then my neck is really bent, and it shouldn't be. You need, that's too much relief in the neck. So you would straighten it, lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. So yeah, touch the end fret, the top fret, and touch down in the middle. So I'm pressing both ends and then dabbing the same string in the middle to see how much give there is in the string before it touches the fret wire. The other way is, if you get really used to playing guitar, you can look down the neck and kind of gauge it by looking at one side of the fretboard. Look at the fret wire, you'll see an arc or a straight line. From my experience, most rock and metal type guitars tend to be set up with almost a straight neck, and then they raise the action to compensate. I don't like the feel of that. I'm more of a blues player, and I prefer the neck to have a little bit of relief, medium action, and then it feels great. But it's entirely in the hand of the beholder. So there's a little bit about setting up the guitar. There are loads of YouTube videos about how to do that more effectively, and we'll give you an insight. But basically, buy a guitar, pick the one that you love and the one you can afford. A little bit more about that. You can spend £8,000 on a guitar, and you can spend £100 on a guitar. It's still a guitar. And as great as an £8,000 guitar is, and as affordable as a £150 guitar is, what really makes the difference is how good you can play, and to an extent what you plug it into. So let's talk a little bit about amplification. Now that's the big difference with beautiful electric guitars, is that you can go from sort of bedroom strumming it on your own, and you can still hear it. And I used to practice for hours and hours like this, just playing all the rudiments and scales and patterns and arpeggios and things. And it's quite a pleasing feel, and I would recommend anyone plays an electric guitar acoustically. But of course you can turn it up and you can step on a switch like this. Make some much louder noises, and that's a really pleasing thing to do as well. So you need an amplifier. Now I own personally some really expensive amplifiers and some really cheap ones, and they're all great. They're all great at different things, and again, it's really the one that excites you the most. You want to listen to a review on YouTube, you'll probably find one of mine, because I've got about 100, I've got 1,300 videos up at the moment. But you'll find, for example, is the lack of my edit requirement in this video. It's going to get a bunch of amplifiers that I personally think are great. So these are little heads, and they're really cool, because the benefit of getting a head over getting an amplifier that is all in one, which we call a combo, is that you can change the speaker cabinet to be bigger or smaller at a later date. So you could get this, which is an HT1 head from Blackstar Amplification. And the thing sounds amazing for rock and blues. I mean, the clean tone is a bit quiet. It's quiet all over because it's a really low wattage valve head, but sounds great. And you can plug it into any cab you want. This is a bit of a step up. This is an orange, beautiful, dark Terror. It confused me for a second because I forgot I covered it in Dragon Skin Tolex from Zilla Cabs. So this is a bit of a custom look, but basically, again, it's a sort of semi-affordable head, valve, 15 watts. This is much louder. It's got one channel, but a bunch of different sounds contained, and it's got, more importantly, an effects loop. So with an effects loop, you can plug in different kinds of pedals that maybe boost the volume to give you a solo boost, or effects like chorus and delay and flange, and we'll talk about this later on. But again, I would get a head and a separate speaker cabinet, so that you can take your tiny head like this and put it through something really small to begin with, and then if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade the cab as well. The cab, or the speakers inside a box, make a massive difference to the sound of an electric guitar, much more than many people realise. And you'll only really fully comprehend that if you've played very loud or recorded for a long time or owned many cabinets. Now in my room currently I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 cabinets, 13 if I include my coffee table, which is a cabinet. And speakers and the cabinet material and the construction of the speaker inside the cabinet all make a tremendous difference to the sound that you eventually hear. Imagine it like this. The amplifier is kind of the brain and the kind of the lungs of what's going on, really the valves of the lungs. And then the mouth is the speaker and the cabinet. So that's what actually produces the end sound. And every part of that chain is important, but really the mouth is very important. So don't skip on very cheap cabinets. In order of guitar, amplifiers, effects and cabinet, I would spend the majority of my money on the guitar and the cab. There's a glimpse into the way I view things. Anyway, moving on. Have you considered